is the Chair of the King County Council, Bob Ferguson.
Thanks very much, Councilmember Von Reichbauer. It's great to be here in Auburn, particularly because I've been following on ESPN2 the travels and the successes of the Auburn Little League baseball team. So they had a great run. It was too bad it came to an end yesterday, but they had a great run, and really a great credit to the city as well. I just have a few remarks I want to say, and I'll keep them brief. And you know I'll keep them brief because I have to leave right after I speak to meet my wife and our young twins. We're going over to Bainbridge Island for the weekend. So I hate to have to leave a little bit early, but I really want to be here today for a lot of reasons, but particularly because of the part of this project that relates to the veterans. And that's been mentioned by previous speakers. The large contribution from our Veterans and Human Services Levy, about $2 million, is going to this project. And it's been so gratifying in recent years to go around throughout the county to ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings for projects like this. And Councilmember Von Reichbauer mentioned back when this was first proposed, back in early 2005 when I proposed legislation, and it wasn't clear how far that would go, whether a levy would go before the voters. And so I think it needs to be said at times like this to recognize how we got where we are. And for example, Councilmember Von Reichbauer, it seems hard to believe it was ever controversial when you go to an event like this, but it was. It really was. And Councilmember Von Reichbauer passed a critical vote in a budget committee. Without his vote, we wouldn't be here today. It's that simple. Dow Constantine, well away from the headlines, we were in a meeting, things were looking difficult at the end, and he proposed a key compromise that frankly made it possible to pass it through the county council by the wide margin that we had. And Mayor Lewis, you know, such a partner. I got to know him on the Regional Policy Committee, and he helped shepherd this piece of legislation through that committee. If he hadn't been there, I guarantee you we wouldn't be here today. So thanks to all those folks and many others for allowing this event to happen today. The biggest thank you, though, goes to all of you, because the County Council took one vote, but that was only a vote to put it on the ballot for the citizens to decide whether or not they wanted to raise their taxes by a small amount to make projects like this possible. And they voted overwhelmingly, 60%. There was no organized campaign for this. We just put on the ballot. 60% of the voters said yes. And it's also good at an event like this to remind everybody that the levy doesn't last forever. In fact, it expires at the end of next year unless one thing happens. The county council votes put it on the ballot again next year, and the people of King County vote to continue the Veterans and Human Services Levy. So just remind you, next year you may want to keep an extra eye on your ballot. You may see a Veterans and Human Services Levy back up there again. I'm the son of a veteran. Both my grandfathers are veterans, so I have very strong feelings when it comes to veterans. Many of my uncles fought in World War II, and I don't say this very often publicly, but I have one uncle. His name's Don Ferguson, my dad's brother, and he fought in World War II, fought honorably, and he came back home, had a family, and many years later he committed suicide. We're not really sure why he committed suicide. The reasons are obviously complex in a situation like that. You can't really know. But he is someone who was brave enough, courageous enough to fight forces of evil at a time when our country, and frankly free people throughout the world, really needed people like him. He was a regular soldier, but a hero to me and to all Americans, like so many veterans, like all veterans who are here today. So I really have made a commitment when it comes to issues of mental illness and veterans to really honor those people and the struggles they're going through, to do right by them. We pick up the paper every day. We see what's going on abroad. Those folks are returning home. I don't need to tell anyone in this audience the struggles those soldiers face when they come back home. So it's so rewarding to be around people like this, like-minded folks, who see the value of using tax dollars in a tough economy for projects like this to change lives, improve lives. And when it comes to homes, there's nothing more fundamental than home. When I go, I have young twins, they're 2.5 years old. Whenever we come home, we take that last turn, we can see our house. My daughter Katie likes to say, "We're home." And you realize how precious a home is. We take it for granted, but without a home, you don't have that structure in your life. Without that, it's hard to fathom how one can even function in society. We take it for granted, but I can assure you, none of the 24 folks who are taking up the space in this wonderful resource, they don't take it for granted, and they never will take it for granted. So on behalf of all those folks, on behalf of all of you, thank you so much for all you've done to make this possible, for being here today, and I look forward to working with you all in the future. Thanks very much.